When you're a parent, you know what's going on with your child. And if you don't, that's on you.
That's why I'm shocked to hear these parents today have no idea what their kids are doing, right? You hear it on the news all the time. We had no idea! Kid's in his room with 16 bazookas, 19 grenades. He's going to school dressed as Darth Vader. You know, look in the room. It starts at the house.
School shootings aren't funny, but Maniscalco makes a point. Parents can't plead ignorance when their child goes on a rampage. Legally, that argument ended today. James and Jennifer Crumbley were sentenced to 10 to 15 years in prison for involuntary manslaughter after their son Ethan shot up his Michigan high school, killing 4 classmates. They're the first parents to ever be charged and convicted in the case of their kid's school shooting. The judge said this tragedy could have been prevented with some halfway decent parenting.
Parents are not expected to be psychic. But these convictions are not about poor parenting. These convictions confirm repeated acts or lack of acts that could have halted an oncoming runaway train. About repeatedly ignoring things that would make a reasonable person feel the hair on the back of their neck stand up.
The school shooter, in the days before the massacre, wrote in his journal, "I have zero help for my mental problems, and it's causing me to shoot up the effing school. I want help, but my parents don't listen to me." Not only did the Crumbleys not listen to him, they bought their mentally disturbed 15-year-old son a gun and didn't secure it. Ethan was a loner. He was depressed. He kept a mental health journal. He had scary eyes. Just a few hours before the shooting, a teacher found sadistic sketches on Ethan's desk mapping out a mass killing, including this message: "The thoughts won't stop. Help me." The school called his mom and brought her in for an emergency meeting, but she wouldn't take Ethan out of class because she had to get back to work. Later that day, he slaughtered his classmates. The families of the victims hold the parents accountable.
When you got a call to meet at the school about your son and how it interfered with your day, I was rearranging my schedule so I could take Madison to get her oil changed for the first time. When you texted, "Ethan, don't do it," I was texting Madison, "I love you, please call Mom."
The defendants, through their choices, through their indifference and gross negligence, enabled their son to murder my daughter, Hannah, and 3 other children.
You have failed your son, and you have failed us all.
Former Parkland judge and current partner of Conrad and Scherer, Elizabeth Scherer, joins me now. Elizabeth, do you think legally this is a sound ruling?
Absolutely. For years, Jesse, when I worked as a prosecutor for 10 years in violent crimes, and then I was a judge for 10 years, something like this used to be termed felony stupidity. In other words, you have this parent who's got a kid that's doing something extremely alarming, and the parents just got their head in the sand, not doing anything to prevent what could easily be a preventable tragedy. I think that this was a sound ruling, and I think that this sets a precedent that parents cannot be stupid anymore. You have rights. As a parent, you have constitutional rights to bear arms, but with those rights come responsibility. And these people and all parents owe it to the community to exercise those responsibilities with those rights. I think they go hand in hand.
Yeah, you don't buy your 15-year-old son with no friends, wearing weird clothing, writing in mental health journals about sadistic, sick, twisted fantasies, a handgun, and then not keep it locked up. This was similar to what happened in Parkland. That case that you oversaw. Weren't there similar instances of just absolute neglect on this case, too?
In the Parkland case, there were the Parkland shooter's mother died about 3 or 4 months before the actual incident, so he was living with various friends and family members. But yes, there were signs, in fact, signs that people reported to law enforcement that he was, in fact, I'm watching this and I'm having a little bit of deja vu, you know, isolated, quiet, crazy eyes, drawing these disturbing type drawings. In fact, the specific drawing that is of the most concern is the one that was shown to the parents on the just hours before the shooting.
That's crazy.
This kid drew a picture, it's crazy, of what is clearly a semi-automatic firearm. It's not, if I had to draw a firearm, it would look like a stick, you know, it would be a terrible rendition. This kid drew with very specifics what could even be termed by some that are familiar with handguns as the Sig Sauer 9mm, that is the gun that his parents bought him. If you look very closely, you can tell. And his parents sat at that meeting and did not say a word. They knew he was having problems. They knew they had just purchased him that gun for him 4 days before. They didn't know where it was, obviously, because within minutes of the shooting happened and being reported by the news, mom calls dad and says, what are we going to do? And then dad reports the gun stolen and says, you know, I think my son may have been involved. And mom texts the son and says, please don't do it. So obviously, if they reacted that quickly, they knew that their son was at least, maybe they didn't know for sure that he was going to do this, but they at least knew that he presented a present danger to the community.
Felony stupidity. There it is.
Felony stupidity.
I think you've coined it. Not a legal argument, but I think you've coined it very well. Judge, thank you as always for joining us. And I know Sebastian Maniscalco's joking, but go in their room and look around. That could help too. Thank you. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.